Hi, and welcome back to Saturday Knit Live. I am your host, Bethany, and I hope you're ready for some color. I know it's been about a year. I have been dealing with health issues and burnout, and now I've got my knitting mojo back, and it's become kind of a problem. Hopefully you can join me today and go through my WIPS because I have been casting on like crazy and not finishing things. And it's getting to the point where I can't count them just on my two hands. I am in various stages of finish. Either they just need a little bit done, or I've literally just started them, or they need frogged because I'm not loving them anymore. Or maybe they need tried on because the last time I tried them on, I don't know that I was necessarily happy with them, or I don't remember how they fit. So let's start. First of all, we're not going to talk about my hair. It's doing a thing and I need to get it cut. Second, on my screen, I will be looking at occasionally, I have a list of all of my WIPs. I did go through them before this so that I didn't stumble over the name or the pattern. And I also wrote down when I started these. And some of them date back to 2024, which isn't terrible, but I don't want them languishing that long. I started them so that I could actually have them, and I'd like to get them finished. So, pardon the crinkling. This is in a bagoo bag, so it does make a bit of noise. This is the Square One bag, which is a crocheted project the pattern is by TL Yarn Crafts. It is on her blog, I believe, and it's supposed to be a project bag. This is how much I have done. Oop, there goes my hook. This is how much I have done. It is a square bottom. It's linen stitch. If you're not new to the channel and you recognize this yarn was originally a tank top and I frogged it. Um, wasn't loving how the tank top was fitting. I had already gone through some fit issues, not the fault of the pattern, totally my fault. I wasn't paying attention to how I was making it, and when I got to frogging it, I sat on it for a while and thought, do I really want this to be a tank top? It's a DK weight, alpaca blend, merino. I think it needs to be something else. So anyway, I took it apart and started the bag. This is how deep it is so far. There's the depth. And these are the yarns I have left to do the rest of the bag. I already have the drawstrings finished and the strap finished. I just need to finish the depth of the bag and make the channel for the drawstrings. I'm going to continue to finish this one. So I'm going to mark that on my spreadsheet. By the way, this I started on July 16th, 2025. It is currently, the day of filming this, July 14th. So it's almost been a whole year since I've started this. So I need to finish this. Next up is what I'm calling my rave socks. I was knitting these in the car with my mom the other day for going to visit my aunt, and she goes, "Oh, those are fun colors. What are you going to call those?" And I said my rave socks, and she didn't appreciate that very much. I don't know that she's a fan of the name, but I have one sock, um, and I just need to graft the toe. I'm using the Strong Heel Socks pattern by Stitch Theory Designs. This is the heel, and it's been a while since I have knitted socks, so I am getting used to it again. If you notice my DPNs are floppy, I'm using, let me get one out of a project. These are Flexi Flips. These are my preferred method to knit socks. I've noticed that in the past when I knit socks on Magic Loop, I didn't get the greatest tension. And I'm still trying to get used to using the tiny circulars. That is a whole other learning curve. So for now, I am ready to graft these on my flexi flips. Started the second sock. Um, these are obviously because I have to graft the toe. These are cuff down socks. And I am using, I don't know what these ones were. When I pulled them out of my scrap stash, because I'd use them for something else, there were no labels on them. I can almost guarantee you this one is Cascade Heritage. This one has more plies to it, or more of a pronounced twist, I should say. So it is not Cascade, but I'm not sure what it is. This, however, the main color, this is Death by Yarn. So stick these back in here before I lose my place. And I am doing 64 stitches around. Get this closer to the camera. You're going to see my tension is really even with these flexi flips, and I love it. Here's the heel. Kind of looks funny, but got a little pearl ridge running down the back. We'll see how they fit when they're finished. Next on the list, oh, I started those June 30th. So just recently, just last month, I started them. And I was hoping to finish them last week, and then I got distracted and starting something new. So this is the problem. This is the problem. Now that I have energy, well, more energy, and I have time to do things, and I have the want to do things, and space to do things, which, again, if you're not new to the channel, I have rearranged this room so many times, and it definitely doesn't look like it did the last time you saw it. But now I have a bit more space. I'm just wanting to knit all the things, and that's getting me into trouble and languishing projects. I don't love languishing projects. I want to wear the projects. I want to use the projects. Anyway, moving on. We're only to 3. There's 22 things on this list. There are 22 things on this list. We need to move faster. Number 3 is the Brooklyn Raglan Light by Tori Yu. Here it is. I was working on this while we were traveling for my husband's work in Chicago. And I started it on May 29th, 2025. So it has been over a year since I've started this. This is the yarn I am using, and I'm having to change skeins because they are all different dye lots. I bought them at 3 different times. Because when I bought the first skein, I thought, oh, this is great. This is gonna be a great pair of socks or a hat or something. And then I'm like, no, I really want this as a t-shirt. And the second time I bought the second skein, they only had 1 skein. And I thought, okay, well, I mean, I could do stripes. And I didn't want to do stripes. So then, when I bought the third skein, I knew I was just going to have to alternate skeins. Anyway, here it is. I literally have the ends of the sleeves to do, just the ribbing on the sleeves, and a little bit to do on the body. But I can already tell where I carried the yarn inside. It's going to pucker. I'm going to have to frog this. This one, I don't usually get emotional or like annoyed with frogging. But this one, it's literally almost done. But I know that if I don't frog it, it's not going to fit right. And especially with how I'm built, there's no way that this isn't going to like pucker right across my chest and just look bad. Okay, we're just going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. This is getting frogged and restarted once I finish these other WIPs, okay? I want this t-shirt. I want to wear this. The yarn is great. I love the pattern. It's got this nice, I don't know, broken moss stitch almost on the sleeves. I really want this, but I have to frog it so that I can make one that fits. Okay, next one is a tank top slash vest situation. It's more like a crew neck vest. It's the Yarn Keeper by Wool and Pine. And I just started this one recently too. I started this one on June 16th, just last month, almost exactly a month ago. And I am pleased to say it is almost done. And it fits. I've tried it on. So here it is. Not blocked. I have to do the ribbing around the neckline and then around the armholes. And I knit this out of scraps. This is DK weight. And I got the stripes to match up and everything. The dark gray is left over from Hot Springs Fiber Co. They had a year-long club situation, and I used all of the main skeins for a blanket, and then I had all of the minis that were left over that are this semi-solid gray color. And so I had 13 of these, and I believe I have 5 left. So I am finishing this one. I want this finished. This is the one I have been trying to work on to get off the needles so that I can actually wear it. Because it's hot. It is 90 to 100 here. It's humid, it's hot, and I work in an office, but I can wear tank tops. So I'm excited to get it finished and get it moving. Again, it's one of the ones I was working on just last month, so it's not even one that's been languishing. Next one is now it's spelled Kaos. To me, that doesn't sound like an English word, it sounds Greek. But it reads in my brain, it reads chaos. So we're just going to call this the chaos sweater. This is a sweater that was part of the book by Lane Publishing, 25 Weeks of Scrap Yarn. It is a fingering weight, all over color work. First color work. Let's go. Again, just started this one too. This one I started on May 29th. So a little over a month ago. And I have already started and frogged it and restarted it. Now I think it actually fits. And it doesn't look like much because, again, it's fingering weight, it's color work, it's bunching up. But once I block it, I think it'll look really nice. But here it is. Oh, it looks kind of nice from far. We're just looking at it from back here. I am using the neck band, the wrists, and the waistband. I am using a random skein of Madeline Tosh that I found. Don't ask me the colorway. I don't flipping know. And then for the color work, I am using, I'm just gonna hold it. I mean, you saw them, but like a bunch of different ones. Skeins of the sock yarn from Solstice Fiber Co. As soon as I saw them post this yarn on their Instagram the day before the Great Lakes Fiber Arts show in Worcester, Ohio, I knew that when I went the next day, I was going to have to buy these. I bought every single skein. I rolled dice to figure out what color order I was going to do it in. And I believe I made it as randomized as possible, but I do want to get this finished. Obviously, it's a sweater. I can't wear a sweater right now. I mean, I could, but why? Why would I do that to myself? I wouldn't. Anyway, I want to get this done for fall so that I can wear that in fall because it is a fingering weight sweater. I probably won't be wearing it in the winter. It won't be warm enough. But again, that is, I believe, 7 or 8 skeins of fingering weight yarn out of my stash and into a wearable piece. Next up is my Pretty Eyes sweater. If you have seen Over the Garden Wall, you might know this reference once I show you the yarn. The pattern is the Matcha Jumper by Burt Knit, and I am using Dymad yarns, fingering weight, held with some coned alpaca. Yeah, Surrey alpaca that I ordered from overseas. This is the yarn. It's literally called You Have Beautiful Eyes. It is the color of the monster's eyes in Over the Garden Wall. I have 4 skeins of it, and I'm alternating skeins because, again, it is a variegated yarn. This is how it looks in the ball. It's really cool. And I've only started this not recently. I shouldn't say that. I haven't started it recently, but I haven't gotten a ton done on it. I started this May 19th, 2025. Just a little bit after I started the Brooklyn Raglan. Here it is so far. And this is another one that I'm gonna have to try on. So I have gotten to the underarm separation, and I'm gonna have to try this on to see if I like how it's going so far. You can barely see. I switched yarns a little bit, but it doesn't seem, maybe the alpaca is helping disguise it, but it doesn't look to be puckering like the Brooklyn Raglan was. We're going to try it on and see if I can keep working on it or if I have to frog it and restart it. All right, now this one I had to look up the pronunciation of because it is a Chinese name that I am not Chinese and I'm not trying to butcher it. Editing Bethany here. After looking through some of the footage, my pronunciation was horrible. So this is the Xiao Mai or Zhao Mai jacket. It is from the Neon and Neutrals book by La Bien Aimée, and I am knitting it in so many yarns. It is in this massive bag because it is a massive project, and I am ashamed, not ashamed, but I'm kind of disappointed in myself to say that I started this June 9th and haven't gotten very far on it. So it's currently living in a combination of 2 bags. One with the current parts of the yarn that I'm using, and one for the rest of the yarn. But this is the book that it was in, right here. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. It's supposed to look like this. We'll see if I can do it justice. Because this is how much I've done on it so far. That's it. That's all. For the main bit in the photo, it was like this oatmeal color. I'm doing black. And I'm holding Knit Picks Bubbly Blue Clay and Knit Picks Palette together for that part of the pattern. Going for a cyan, magenta, yellow blend for the textured bits, and hoping that when I hold them and they kind of twist on each other, they almost look rainbowy. Anyway, it's a lot of yarn in a really big bag. I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to use to hold this while I worked on it, and because it is so large, I really can't take it with me. It has to stay here at home, which is fine. I don't necessarily need another on-the-go project. I mean, I can make any project on the go if I try hard enough. The next one is the cockle, which is a type of seashell. It is a slipover / vest, depending on where you are in the world, what you would call it. And it is by Autumn Bugs. It was in Lane magazine number 28. And I'm using Lazy Hazy Summer Cotton. I don't work with cotton. I don't, but I really like this cotton. Let me show you. So the pattern is in this book right here, Lane magazine number 28. And I'll show you what it's supposed to look like because I'm not even close to done. And you're going to look at it and say, what's this supposed to look like? And I'm going to say, it's supposed to look like this. So this is how much I have done. I'm starting the body shaping. They asked for a lifeline in the pattern. And I've already done all 4 I-cord ties, and I have 2.5 skeins left. So I am almost done with the front, and I just need to do the back, and I want to wear it. I want to wear it badly. I haven't finished. I think there's a theme. I'm sensing a theme here. I want to wear something, I start it, I don't finish it, because I want to wear something else, and I don't get it finished. Anyway, next project is also in the same magazine, Lean issue 28. It is called The Only Lovers Left. It is a Henley, and it's supposed to look like this. And I am knitting it out of Cascade Heritage, which I have a lot of. I don't know, I can't show you, but it's this whole section up here. Most of it is Cascade Heritage. Who needs a pink Henley? Apparently me. I am using color 5613. I have 5 skeins of this, and I have 2 parts of the pattern done. This is one part. It is knit in pieces, and this is 2 parts. And so I'm done with the button section. Done with the button section, so I will need to find 5 buttons, which I did. I do think I ordered buttons. I believe they have like little cherry blossoms on them or something cute. Anyway, this is something that I want to wear for the fall. Just need to get my butt moving and finish it. You don't want to see the floor. Also, Lane is a international publisher, so some of their projects do call for a US 2.5 or a 3mm, and I have found that I have to order those from overseas. So when I order them, I order a couple because there are quite a few overseas and UK patterns that use this size, and it gets a great, great not tension, gauge. Gives a nice fabric. So if you see yourself needing a size between a 2 and a 3, a 2.5 US, it is a great size. So I'm not trying to influence you, but if that is an issue that you run into where you knit it on a 2 and it's too tight, and you knit it on a 3 and it's too loose, look for a 2.5 because maybe that's the size you actually need. It is my second oldest project. This started off as a test knit, and then I got sick and I was not able to complete the test knit, so I was not given the pattern at the end of the test knit, and I was not part of the test knitting group once I had to withdraw. So I purchased the pattern. I wanted to finish it, I wanted to work on it, I wanted to wear it, and it's not finished. It's not wearable yet. Let me show you how close I am to finishing this. Okay, so I just spent the last 5 minutes untangling the yarn from the stitch holders and the needles and the little bobbins that I have hanging off of this thing. Here she is. She literally just needs a sleeve. Just needs a sleeve. Anyway, I just need to dig out the pattern and finish this. Then it'll be done. Next one. This one's gonna be a little painful of a I have a feeling I'm gonna have to frog part of this. This is the Eyeball Shawl by Stephen West. And I know some people don't like to mix yarns. I'm definitely a yarn mixer. Like in high school and middle school, you couldn't mix your brands. Like you had to have all the same brand on. No, I'm mixing my yarn. I got Bewitched Pigments, Emma's Yarn, Knit Picks, and Undercover Otter and Madeline Tosh. I've got everybody's in this shawl. The problem is, love this shawl, and I had been planning it for years. I wanted it kind of to look a little sinister. I did a red pupil and a purple iris I did pink sclera, and it's kind of bundled up on the needles. The problem is that I got into is where the eyelashes are supposed to be around the eye. It is brioche. Never done brioche. I don't know how to read brioche. Probably should take a crash course on YouTube on how to knit brioche because I just winged it and it ain't looking right. So it's only a couple of rows. If I just rip back 4 rows of a lot of stitches and redo the brioche the way it's supposed to be, I could be done with this. This is so close. So close to being done. And then I can wear it. Freak all my coworkers out. Why are you wearing an eyeball? They should know by now. Anyway, it's so close to being done. This one's getting finished. Slightly frogged, but is going to be finished. Next up is another pretty old one. I started this one March of 2024. This is the Baseline Cardigan by Suzanne Sommer. I'm using Solstice Fiber Studios in the, and then some scrap yarn that I found that is like a complimentary. This is so close to being done. So disappointed in myself. It's really stuck in there. Okay. Pockets are done. This is the Solstice Fiber Arts. And then this is the scrap that I found. I think this might actually be, if y'all remember Yarn Enabler, I think this might have been one of her monthly pencil sock colorways. I believe it is because it's not 100 grams, it's closer to like 80. And I remember this being one of her colorways. I'm pretty sure I remember trying this on. It just needs, am I upside down? No. It just needs buttons, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do buttons on this. This is an open cardigan. Just needs sleeves. Just needs sleeves and I have to sew in the pocket. It's finished so that I can wear it in the office because it's flipping cold in the office with the AC. I'm so mad at myself. Just stop starting new things and just get the things done. I need somebody to just like slap the knitting needles out of my hand every time I start a new project and just be like, no. All right. Next one is very large. So I'm going to insert a clip of me holding it up so you can actually see it because it is a blanket. Is the Famsic, if I'm saying that right? Probably not. I will write it down the bottom here. It is a West Knits blanket. I'm knitting it in West Wool Tandem, which is their DK weight. And I started this in December of 2024. I want it done so that I can actually use it. It is a nice blanket. And I mean, it is in 25 colors. That's 2,500 gram skeins out of my stash. That's a blanket that I can cuddle up under and watch movies under and knit under, cruising right along. Next up is the Northeasterly blanket, which I started this blanket back in 2016. So if you want to start there with my first iteration of the Northeasterly blanket, then yes, it is my oldest WIP. However, that iteration was frogged. I didn't love it. It was very scrappy, and I love scrappy blankets, but that wasn't what I was looking for this blanket. So instead, I decided to go through all of the Knitpicks Felici yarn that I had and pair it up and kind of put it in an order that I thought would look pleasing and restart the blanket. And I restarted it on July 14th of last year, 2025. Let's see how far I've gotten on it. I don't mind having blankets be like a long-term project situation because they're not super portable. They're more often than not, I'm using scraps or I'm using just yarn as I find it. Um, I know that they are going to get a lot of yarn out of my stash. Almost everything on these shelves has a project allocated to it. I bought it for a project or for a type of project. So I'm not necessarily worried about how much is in my stash because I do work through it relatively quickly and I do allocate projects to all of the yarn in my stash. Let me show you what this blanket looks like. If you're not familiar with the Northeasterly, it has been around for a while. It is a modular blanket, which is my preferred method of joining strips of color or joining bits onto a blanket. Here it is so far. The way I'm doing this is I am knitting a full skein of Felici and then I'm making a little section between the its mirror or its partner skein with just a solid that complements what's inside of so like for this one, yellow is going to connect to this color with its partner color, and purple is going to connect to this color with its partner color, and so on. So I've started on the next stripe over, and you start off of the main blanket. You knit a couple of rows, and then you connect it, and then you just kind of graft those little bits together. So this is the next color. I have a whole basket of like the next colors, and I've got photos of what order they go in and whatnot. So this is a long-term project, so I am not disappointed in not having made any progress on this because in the meantime, I have knit 2 other blankets. I'm not pressed about it. And then I have other blankets that are kind of on on deck for neck, including this next one that I'm going to show you. You see this yarn right here? This is the yarn for the blanket. There are 10 skeins here. 2 skeins have been used. Okay, so the Battenbird blanket has been around for a while, and it is a type of join as you go blanket. But I have each of these skeins was a sock set. It was a mini and a main. They were by Nekonorb Craft Co., who's no longer dyeing yarn. But I have 12 months of this. These are the squares I already have. These were all of the minis, the corresponding minis. And then the first skein I'm almost done with, and the second skein I have not started on. So the theme for these sets was Dungeons and Dragons classes. So you've got Bard and Sorcerer and Monk, and that is a long-term project. I started this, I'm calling this the Dungeon Delve blanket, and I started this on January of 2025. All right, that brings us to number 17 on our list, the Conpeito, and I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm really trying. If you're not familiar, Conpeito candy is a little star candy. It's Japanese candy. If you've ever seen Spirited Away or Totoro, they're really popular candies in Japan for kids that come in little multicolored pastel stars. Anyway, there is a pattern in the 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn book that I wanted to make. It's called Conpeito Candy, and it looks cute little star stitch, right? My gauge is really tight. So I'm using a bunch of minis, Emma's Yarns minis, and or Cascade Heritage. And I've already taken the needles out. This is getting frogged and restarted. I did want a bit of a more open gauge on this than I started with. I'm just gonna go up a needle size or 2. So not disappointed, but this is getting frogged and restarted. And it's not getting restarted right away. It's just gonna get frogged. It's gonna sit there with the pattern, possibly the needles, so that when I finish these other things, when I get the want to start this, I can, and it'll be ready to go. Next up is something I've already decided I'm not keeping. I decided actually yesterday when I was cleaning my office, I was going through all of these projects and kind of getting them ready to film today and pulled this out to try to see what I needed to still do on it and thought, let me try it on. It's too small. Another oldie. If you were around for some of our last videos, you might recognize this as a tubular tank that I was really excited to wear. And yeah, there's way too much negative ease on this sucker. And all that needs done on it is the armholes, armbands. And honestly, it doesn't even look that bad without them. So this is going to be given away. Someone else, I'm sure, will enjoy it. And if I have the need to make it again, I have the skills and I can make it again with whatever yarn I want, whether it's the same or not. So this is going. I don't even have the information on here as to when I started it, but I did go back and look at some of my older videos, and this was like halfway done this time last year. The next project is one that I have been putting off because it's been so hot. And I can't even use that excuse until just recently because I started this project in September of 2025. So like I have had all winter and all spring and all fall to work on this, and I just haven't. And part of it is because I know after opening it back up again, I need to rip back a section. So let me show you what it looks like. Let me show you the yarn first because I have been wanting this sweater for a very long time. When I first saw this yarn, which is called Color Run by Destination Yarns, I bought everything they had. And I knew that they were never going to be the same dye lot. This is almost like a kitchen sink situation. So every time I saw them at a fiber show, I just bought what they had. And I think I ended up buying 8 skeins of this. It is fingering weight sock yarn. And I still have 2 skeins that I haven't wound up yet. This is what it looks like in the skein. This is their postcard fingering weight, 75 superwash, 25 nylon. And then I paired it with the best, it's coming in really light right now, but it is neon pink, highlighter pink Surrey alpaca from That Yarn Habit. And I paired them together, and this thing is amazing. And I'm getting more excited like the more I talk about it now. This is the No Frills cardigan by Petite Knits. Everyone at my local yarn shop has been calling this the Barbie jacket because it's Barbie pink. Freaking love it. But you can't see this, but it's down to like my mid shin. I'm almost done with the length. I was thinking of adding pockets. I'm not sure yet. I started the arm on this side and I didn't pay attention to when I needed to decrease like every 6 rows. But if I just rip back the sleeve just a little bit and start my decreases, then I can be done with this and I can wear it and it can be super fun and I will wear it literally every day. Everyone is going to be sick of me and my bright pink jacket. I am hoping to have it done before September this year. There's my goal. I missed one. My color block sock. I started these socks December 31st of last year. I paused on the second sock and never really got very far on it. This is using the basic sock number 1, Summerly Knits book, The Sock Project. So it's just the basic heel flap and gusset, but I just broke down each section of the sock and knit it in a different color. Partially because I wanted this almost as a recipe. So I finished one and then I'm like, oh, do I need to knit the second one? And then I kind of wanted to wear them. So yeah, I kind of want to knit the second one. Now we have 3 left. This one I'm about to show you, I am going to frog, and I'm going to give the yarn away after I frog it because nothing wrong with the yarn. It's just not something that I am necessarily enjoying now that I have knitted. So, little backstory. I went to visit my friend Emily and went to her local yarn shop, picked up this yarn because I loved the color, had never worked with it. I don't usually work with worsted weight yarns. Anyway, I bought this yarn and it's haiku worsted, which I believe it's a wool acrylic blend. This thing is almost done. I even filmed myself like working on it while I was on this trip. It's just a vest. I'm just not loving how it knitted up. Maybe it's a combination of the pattern and the yarn. I'm not a person that's going to diss something one way or the other if there's no actual discernible problems. So I'm just gonna frog it. Last things are probably something that I'm most excited about. I ordered from Pearl Soho for the first time ever. Like I had seen so many good things about Pearl Soho and I thought, I hate buying multiple balls of yarn to knit like a solid colored sweater out of that's got like texture or something because then you run into dye lots and then you have a bunch of ends to weave in. What? Who sells cone yarn? So I looked it up and Pearl Soho does. I've been wanting to knit my husband and I matching sweaters. I know the sweater curse, whatever. No, no, no. He is a knitter's kid, so he will appreciate this. He has appreciated every single knitted or crocheted thing I have ever made him. So I went to him and I said, hey, I know your favorite color is green. Are you good with this green color? And I showed him this, and he goes, yeah, this is great. This is before I ordered it. Showed him just like a swatch online. And I said, okay, I want you to pick out the pattern for your sweater. So I narrowed it down to about 5 patterns, sent him screenshots, and said, which one do you like best? And these patterns were ones that I thought would work on both of our body types. He picked out the Willow Pullover by Andrea Gone. I think I'm saying that right, maybe. I'm tandem knitting these to an extent. Like I started his, and I just started these last week so that I could have like a reference and we could both try it on as we went. I have gotten a bit more done, just a bit more on mine. The color I ordered for him is Newly Green, and I got Wild Guava, which it's blowing out on camera, but it is this semi-solid. It's got bits of like light pink and orange in there. Anyway, um, I separated for the underarms and I'm finishing the front right now. I'm loving this knit. It is very intuitive. Don't love that it's bottom up, but I can see why it's bottom up and to establish that ongoing pattern. Tubular cast on has always frustrated me, but I found that if I do the tubular cast on a straight needle and then knit off of it onto my circulars, knit straight for an entire row, and then knit in the round, it's so much easier. And that sounds complicated, but if you've ever knit a tubular cast on, you may know what I'm talking about, and maybe try that next time. I'm not an expert, just a knitter. You can't tell where I grafted the first couple rows together. I started these on July 6th. So yeah, just a little over a week ago. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I need to sign off and clean up this mess and work on these WIPs. Frog the frogs and try on the try-ons. And anyway, thanks for joining us. This is Saturday Knit Live. I am Bethany, and I hope to see you next Saturday.